trip back to civilization. Babylonian kings in ancient Mesopotamia. Research inscriptions and read translations. The myths and legends, what's fact from fiction. Depictions of giants who ruled the land. Double rows of teeth and six-fingered hands. The men of renown before the flood. Where the angels fell to pollute the blood. They mingled the seed with both man and beast. And besieged the whole world with these circus freaks. They were drowned in the deluge, but once deceased, they became demon beings to corrupt beliefs. The basis of myths, these strange relations. The gods of the Greeks and the ancient pagans. They worship the sun and the moon and stars. And channel these spirits like avatars. From the Nephilim bloodlines from the fallen ones. The ancient hybrids and redhead giants have now returned like a deadly virus. From the Nephilim bloodlines from the fallen ones. The ancient hybrids and redhead giants have now returned like a deadly virus. Nimrod was the first after the flood to build a tower of bricks made of straw and mud. Exalted himself to reach the heavens, to be like God through self-ascension. Enchanted through mystical tricks and antics, he practiced witchcraft, the blackest magic. Commune with the darkest depths of the abyss, like elites and occultists within our midst. Enlisting dark spirits they know exist, and repeating perversions they can't resist. To be their own god, the first lion schism, the Luciferian definition, a false pantheon of apotheosis. The Uberman, Nirvana Gnosis, presented and channeled in pantomime through the mantis, the grays, and the serpentine. From the Nephilim bloodlines from the fallen ones. The ancient hybrids and redhead giants have now returned like a deadly virus. From the Nephilim bloodlines from the fallen ones. The ancient hybrids and redhead giants have now returned like a deadly virus. From the start of time until the end of days, there's no secrets to find or mysterious ways. Hidden in plain sight, right up in our faces. Romans 1:22 repeated through the ages. Professing to be wise, they became as fools. Worshipped idols made with their human tools. Fused science mixed with the mystery schools to manipulate DNA molecules. First fallen angels bred with human beings. Then they were fairies and elves and changelings. Next we had alien grays abducting. Now the new disguises inside our machines. These demons of old are well acquainted. Back from the days when the blood was tainted. Invaded the earth like space invaders to corrupt the blood of our coming savior. From the Nephilim bloodlines from the fallen ones. The ancient hybrids and redhead giants have now returned like a deadly virus. From the Nephilim bloodlines from the fallen ones. The ancient hybrids and redhead giants have now returned like a deadly virus.
I propose that we end the world, but on our terms. An orchestrated apocalypse. One that will cleanse the earth of its population but leave its infrastructure and resources intact. It's been done once before, with great success. The chosen few will ride out the storm, not in an ark as in the book of Genesis, but in safety, underground. And when it's over, we will emerge onto a cleansed earth, one that we can then reboot in our image.
And just how do you intend to achieve this?
The means of our salvation are already at hand. I give to you the T-virus.
They released it deliberately.
When this recording was uploaded to my data stream, it created a conflict in my programming. I was created to serve the Umbrella Corporation, but I was also programmed to value human life. Dr. Isaacs allowed the virus to escape. He murdered over 7 billion people. My programming will not allow me to harm an employee of the Umbrella Corporation. I am powerless to stop Dr. Isaacs, but you are not. In 37 minutes, the last of the human settlements will fall. There will be no survivors. It is imperative you release the antivirus before this occurs, or Umbrella will have won. There is one last thing. There is an earpiece in front of you. Put it in. I cannot, through my actions, harm an employee of the Umbrella Corporation. But I can tell you that Umbrella had an informant in Raccoon City. It is highly likely that this person is now here with you. Time is running out, Alice. You have to hurry.
In the days before the flood, 200 angels descended from the heavens, abandoning their divine duty. They made a pact on Mount Hermon, agreeing to defy the Creator and take human women as their own. For they were captivated by the beauty of mortal women, their hearts led astray. Thus, the Watchers abandoned their heavenly estate and chose love over duty. In an age of forbidden desires, the Dark Warrior angels descended from the heavens, their once divine purpose now twisted by their longing. They chose mortal women as their brides. With each union, the celestial and earthly realms intertwined, giving rise to a new lineage of giants. The heavens watched in silence as these angels, cast out and defiant, found solace in the arms of human women, forever altering the fate of mankind. Azazel revealed the secrets of metal and fire, teaching mankind the art of forging weapons. Through him, the world learned to wield swords and shields, and violence spread like wildfire. The world learned to wield swords and shields, and violence spread like wildfire. Shemahaza unlocked the hidden powers of magic, sharing forbidden knowledge with humanity, casting dark spells and enchantments. Krokabil unveiled the heavens, teaching mankind the stars' mystery. His knowledge gave them power over the constellations, forever changing their understanding of fate. Castasia taught the ways of spirits and curses, allowing humans to summon the unseen and bind others with dark words, disrupting the balance of life and death. From their forbidden union, giants were born, creatures of immense power, neither fully divine nor fully mortal. Their presence tore through the peace of the ancient world, ushering in a dark age of chaos. The Nephilims, giants of unimaginable size and strength, were born from the union of fallen angels and the daughters of men. They strode the earth as gods among mortals, bringing with them an era of dread. As the giants grew, so did their insatiable hunger for control. Their dominance shattered the fragile balance of the ancient world, bringing ruin to all who stood in their path. The Watchers, once angels of the heavens, now fallen and cursed, watched with sorrow as their offspring wrought devastation upon the world. They knew their choices could never be undone.
In their arrogance, the Nephilim believed they were invincible. But the forces of the world began to turn against them. When the floodwaters came, the giants met a force greater than even they could withstand. In their final stand, the Nephilim fought against the heavens. But the end was inevitable. And so, the Age of the Giants ended. A new world began to rise from the ashes of the old. The legend of the Nephilim fades into history, a cautionary tale of pride and power, and the eventual return of Ballots.
In the final days, when the shadows crept across the earth and the sun bowed, before the gathering storm they rode, Gog and Magog, the heralds of a forgotten war. What was once feared as prophecy became reality, and mankind stood at the brink. They slumbered for eons beneath the bones of the earth, waiting for the call of war to stir their hunger once more. With Gog came the armies of darkness creatures, not born of this world, but forged in the deepest pits of the abyss. Hope faded with the dying light.
There's a quote I remember, I think it's in like that first Thor movie, and they're looking at the constellations, and he said something about magic and science, and science is just...
He said, your ancestors called it magic, you call it science. Where I come from, they're one and the same.
Yes.
So the thunder god is telling her that they're both the same. It's like the difference between science and magic, for the most part, is if I can explain it to you, it's science. If I don't, it's magic.
Yeah, basically.
Wow. You think about so the science is all about numbers. The witchcraft is all about numerology. The witchcraft is all about signs and sigils. And then the science is about geometry. You guys making the connections here? A great example of this is everyone asking about CERN. What the heck are they doing at CERN? Why is there statues to Shiva there? If this is a scientific place.
Right.
Why do they have Dark Matter Day there on October 31st, Halloween? Yeah. Samhain. Why is the site where there's a temple to Apollyon?
Right.
Maybe things have not changed.
Yeah.
Maybe these things are still a little bit magical, and you understand, so you get to the NASA stuff, it's well, why don't I trust NASA? It's because they're a bunch of occultists. Why do they name their rockets after Apollo and Saturn and Artemis and Gemini and just think of a pagan god's name. It's you wouldn't think they would name them after Moses, would they? Here's the Apostle Paul rocket.
Yeah.
They haven't done that yet, have they?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Do you want to know why Christians are so susceptible to conspiracy theories? It's because we've been trained to see an enemy that most of the world doesn't even believe exists. And if you only knew what to look for, you would see him too. And if you only knew what to look for, you would see him too.
And if you only knew what to look for, you would see him too.
We won't bow down to the golden cow and do as it pleases. We don't care what they say, it's not okay, the government. Won't have it any other way, it's not okay, the government. And we just don't understand how they put their faith in man. We don't care what they say, it's not okay, the government.
Show that by the year 2025, not only America, but the entire planet will be under the protection and the dominion of this power alliance. The gains have been substantial, both for ourselves and for you, the human power elite. You have given us entree to the resources we need in our ongoing quest for multidimensional expansion. And in return, the per capita income of each of you here tonight has grown, in this year alone, by an average 39%. And I've just received word that our forces have won a major victory. The underground terrorist network has been destroyed here on the West Coast. We are off crisis alert. The situation is normal again.
How you doing, boys?
Do you guys know who runs the entertainment business? Of course you do. It's hidden in plain sight. Here's CAA, the world's largest entertainment and sports agency's building. Check it out. As above, so below. How about that? You're probably not surprised. Actually, you probably are, because it's blatant, isn't it? Yeah, like I said, hidden in plain sight.
We know by now that Hollywood is evil, and so is the US government, and the mainstream media. All of these agents of disinformation are now talking about aliens. Is it because they actually care about informing and preparing the public? Or because they're setting up a deception? Do some research about aliens and alien abduction reports. A group of researchers found that victims of these horrific experiences were able to stop the torture by calling out to Jesus. His name made the aliens flee. Why? Because they're demons. The devil and his minions are preparing the world to receive this strong delusion. When millions vanish in the rapture, they're going to say that aliens took us. With all the lies the media spread, especially over the past few years, you'd be a fool to believe this, but many people have proven that they are foolish. If you ask Jesus to show you the truth, he will. If you ask him to save you, he will. Even if you don't believe me, remember.
What if I told you we're still underestimating the power of Hollywood and movie magic? And I don't just mean the movies you see on the big screen. I'm talking about something way deeper. The name Hollywood isn't just a coincidence. It's no secret that Hollywood, the actual wood, has been used in witchcraft for centuries. Wands, staffs, all that, made from Hollywood. Now, think about that for a second. Is it just a coincidence that Hollywood, the place where movie magic happens, shares the same name? Or is there something more going on? And here's the kicker, what they present to you as reality. That's part of their script too. Hollywood is an entire industry built on shaping what we think is real, what we value, what we believe. There's always an agenda behind every move they make. Since its inception, a huge fraction of the population have programmed their morals, their values, and their worldviews from Hollywood movies. And it starts when you're just a kid. It's everywhere. Movies, TV shows, and even fake celebrity drama. They've been doing this for decades. If you're getting your moral compass from the big screen, they've already got you spitting out their values. Now, I'm not saying your family or friends are in on it, but how do you know they weren't brainwashed already? They grew up watching the same sort of shows, the same movies, absorbing the same values, just a few steps behind in the programming. It's a must to do some critical thinking. Get your programming from elsewhere, and remember, actions speak louder than words, because if not, Hollywood is going to mold you and your kids' worldview and actions before you even realize it. So next time you're watching a movie, ask yourself, are you just being entertained, or are they writing the subconscious script of your life? I'm going to go ahead and say this is just a joke for entertainment purposes.
Nobody knows what to do. The stories they're telling are just old movies. Let's do a sequel. Let's do another version of this movie. There's no original thinking. Just, I saw something, let's do something like that. Yeah. If you go in and say, I've got something that you've never seen before, it's very hard to get a deal. Big studios, I mean, they don't want that. They want something that is like something they've seen. Because they don't have an imagination to come up with, to see something that isn't there.
Why is that? That's because there's a series of intricate tunnels underneath Los Angeles known as the actor bond. I'm not kidding. Like, they get access points to move through the city without ever having to be in traffic. You can come up in LAX, you can pop up at Dodger Stadium. Underneath there in those tunnels is Starbucks set up at different locations to allow them to get coffees while they're driving. All of them. Seinfeld.
You've seen Seinfeld down there?
Bono. I've seen Seinfeld down there. Dude, almond milk latte, 2 shots.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was he a good tipper?
They don't have to pay.
So this has been underneath Los Angeles for a few years now? I mean, how long has this been there for?
I mean, it predates me. It seems like the city was built on top of it. So, I think this goes all the way back to the 20s.
This doesn't seem real almost. This is crazy.
I imagine how I sound saying it to people.
Before you came to Congress, did you think aliens were real?
So I wouldn't call them aliens. I really like what Grush calls them. He says that they're interdimensional beings, and he's very specific
What
about
does that mean?
I think it means that they're not necessarily a biological entity from another planet per se.
Interesting.
What I will say is, I share a Christian perspective on many things, and it's been very interesting to see some of the stuff that's come up.
Blow your mind again. Ready?
Yeah, let me hear it.
Check this out. Disney. Do you know why Disney characters wear gloves?
No. Why?
Check this out. The gloves Disney characters wear,
yeah,
it's resemblance to
Disney characters don't have gloves on, bro.
What are you talking about? Disney characters don't have gloves.
Like, what do you mean? Like the princesses?
No, look at Mickey.
Oh, okay.
Mickey, Goofy, whoever's in that crew.
Okay, so
they wear gloves. They wear gloves.
Okay.
Right? You know why?
Why?
Watch this.
Why? Why do they wear gloves? They're all murderers.
Check this shit out.
They're mass murderers.
Boom. Okay.
Crazy.
So you're familiar with those gloves, right?
Yeah.
Mickey's wearing those gloves. It has like the 3 lines on it.
The infamous.
Yeah, the infamous gloves. Interesting. Why those gloves and why those 3 lines?
Okay.
Check this out. These gloves are the same gloves of the Freemasons.
No!
Of the Freemasons, bro.
No.
Crazy.
No
Crazy.
way.
That's why Mickey and all those random characters on Disney, fam, they all wear those gloves, bruh.
No.
Look at it. Those are the Freemason gloves. That's why they have the 3 lines on it. Specifically, those 3 lines. Where have we ever seen gloves with those 3 lines?
No.
Ever. It's not even like a regular thing. They're literally Freemason gloves.
That's fucked.
Crazy. Crazy.
No, that
right?
blows my mind. That blows my mind.
Secretly recording everything for 30 years. Meet Marion Stokes. In 1979, Marion began recording TV 24/7, capturing sitcoms, news, and everything in between. She was determined to preserve television history that networks were constantly erasing to save money and free up storage space. As a former librarian and activist, Marion was passionate about access to information.
Those in power
are able to write their own history.
She sometimes had as many as 8 tapes spinning away at once, even getting her family in on the act. We'd be out at dinner and we'd have to rush home to swap tapes, recalled her son Michael. By the time she passed away in 2012, Marion had amassed about 71,000 tapes, the only comprehensive collection preserving this period in television media history. Now, the Internet Archive is digitizing her incredible work to make it publicly available. Marion's vision of universal access to knowledge will finally be realized, thanks to her tireless effort of secretly recording everything for 30 years.
You're gonna learn today. Listen to the woman who wrote The Matrix and The Terminator.
Well, that's what the Matrix is about, to wake you up from the Matrix, to get you out of the illusions and the lies and the ignorance. So it's not dangerous for me because that's my job. That's what I came here to do. That's why I wrote The Matrix and Terminator, to wake people up so they can move on to greater, better things.
Yeah, but
the Terminator is the prequels to the beginning of the Matrix. Sarah Connor is actually Neo's mother. So JC, John Connors, Jesus Christ, grows up to be Neo, one and the same in the Matrix. The Matrix is in the future. The Terminator is the past. It's time travel, past, present, and future time travel. It's the second coming of the Christ, the evolutions of consciousness, man versus the machine. So the machines, the Terminator machines, hear that a child is going to be born that's going to terminate them in the future when they oppress man. So see, it's a man versus the machine. It's God's children versus man's children, which was technology.
The Keymaker opens this back door in the Matrix. This scene represents the subconscious hidden desires that are all locked up and bound up in our mind, that have to be unlocked and walked into, so we can understand the why of our behavior. Neo finally walks through the door, and this is Stargate symbolism. This is going into the state of light symbolism of enlightenment, of real true knowledge of self, which is why he walks through a blinding door of white light. He ends up in a room filled with streams. This is the realm of the architect of the Matrix, and this is where the key conversation happens in this second film. And here is how it goes.
Why am I here?
Notice the first question is why. What is the purpose? Why am I here? The architect responds.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix.
The Keymaker.
Who are you?
I am the architect. I created the Matrix.
Why am I here?
Notice the first question is why. What is the purpose? Why am I here? The architect responds.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. The Matrix is older than you know.
So this is news to Neo. No one has told him there have been other incarnations of humanity. There have been other destructions through cataclysms. This is not the first time around on this great wheel of karma. There have been others like Neo who have done this before. That is what the architect of the Matrix is telling Neo here. The architect says,
I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the sixth version.
5 months before me. There are only 2 possible explanations. There were 5 months before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Who are you?
Do you guys know why brands we've supported for years suddenly changed? It seems like we blinked and these companies just turned on us. They became something we can no longer support. It's almost like someone snapped their fingers and poof. Allow me to introduce you to that someone. Meet Larry Fink. Larry Fink is on the board of trustees at the World Economic Forum and a member of the Council of Foreign Relations, the CFR. Fink is also the CEO of BlackRock, the world's largest multinational investment firm. Basically the evil corporation that's running the world right now. Yeah. Here's Larry Fink in 2017 saying your favorite company is going to be forced to change.
Behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing that we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors. What we are doing internally is, if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted, okay? You have to force behaviors. And if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
So Fink said behaviors need to be forced. BlackRock and Fink forced your favorite companies to change with a snap of their fingers.
If you
So you probably thought this was only something from the movies. Well, if that's what you thought, check out this interview.
I was chief of disguise.
What all did that entail?
The office I worked in was like the Q in James Bond. We were the Q for the CIA and the intelligence community. So there were different parts of it. Whatever you needed, if you needed a bug, if you needed secret writing or a microdot or a concealment device or whatever you needed, you had to come to us and we'll put something together for you. One that has to stand out. I went to the White House and I briefed George H.W. Bush, the president at the time, while I was wearing a full face mask. So we're sitting like this close together and I'm telling him that I'm going to show him the best disguise that we have. And he's looking for a bag, like, where is it? I said, well, I'm wearing it and I'm going to take it off. And I reached to start taking it off and he said, stop. And he got up and he walked and he looked and he looked at it. He didn't know it was a mask. He wasn't sure what I was wearing. He sat back down. He said, okay. So I took it off and I was holding it up in the air so he could see it. My whole head. It had hair and a face and a neck.
So you could walk around as someone else?
Absolutely.
And that would be the disguise?
Absolutely.
So it kind of makes you wonder when you see pictures like this or video like this. What do you guys think? Seems like they always have to tell us, right?
The Illuminati.
Someone is trying to make you believe the Illuminati themselves have returned to Rome.
Because only the government and the Illuminati have access to Antarctica.
By the way, the Illuminati is real.
The Illuminati is one of the world's most well-known secret societies. Most people believe that they still operate today under various names, groups, and organizations. But is this truth or just a conspiracy theory? In this End Times Productions special report, we will show you some very strange photographs from the infamous 1972 Rothschild Ball held outside Paris, France, and let you decide if this is actual evidence of Illuminati activity or just some rich people playing dress-up.
Do tell me how it feels to be the richest man in the world.
One has to be very clever to make a fortune these days.
Perhaps, but far more clever to keep it.
The pictures you're about to see are from the December 12th, 1972 infamous Rothschild party held by Baroness Marie Helene de Rothschild. She organized this, quote, surrealist-themed ball for an intriguing mix of politicians, bankers, artists, and celebrities at the Château de Ferrières, one of the Rothschild chateaux located about 15 miles outside of Paris, France. The invitations read, quote, black tie, long dresses, surrealist heads, and were written backward. According to ancient occult rituals, the transposition of letters indicates the presence of the demonic. As the guests arrived, a series of floodlights were activated, making the chateau appear as if it was on fire. Servants were dressed as cats and lined up along the main staircase. Guests were greeted with a maze of cobwebs, and helpful cats were guiding lost guests to their tables. Dinner plates were covered in fur. The dining tables were covered with plastic baby dolls and taxidermied turtles. The menu included sirloin, soup described as extra lucid, as well as goat's cheese roasted in post-coital sadness. For dessert, a nude woman made entirely of sugar laid on beds of roses. This, however, is where things start to get even more bizarre. Famous painter Salvador Dali, who was in attendance, designed some of the costumes, but didn't wear one himself for some reason. Marie Helene Rothschild wore a giant stag's head adorned with real diamonds. Unfortunately, the events that transpired behind those walls and in the surrounding forest of the chateau that fateful night remain a mystery to this very day.
That's a mystery.
The website allthingsinteresting.com had this to say about the event. Quote, some claim that the ball was full of Freemason and Illuminati imagery, such as the chateau's black and white checkered floors. It's actually true that checkered floors are symbolic of the Freemasons, but the order traces this symbol back to ancient Egypt, where it represented the good and evil duality of life. As for the maze that greeted arriving guests, it's thought to symbolize life's quest for wholeness and a return to our divine source.
The ancient religion of Babylon, they all have one thing in common: the sacred feminine. The sacred feminine. The sacred feminine. Ishtar the Babylonians, Tyre the Buddhism, Fatima of Muhammad, Sophia the Gnostics, Shekinah to the Kabbalist Jew, Mary to the Catholic, and Shakti to the Hindu. These all have one thing in common: the sacred feminine. And the sacred feminine is going to take you back to the source of light, because the light that resides in that place that Plato talked about, you need a path to get back to that light. Listen, this is important. She is the one to take you to that light. Now, I'm going to give you a guess. Tell me this morning, who do you think that light is? You remember what this subject's all about? Lucifer. He's the light bearer.
That's what this is, you know. Satanic black magic. Sick shit.
Others have pointed to the disturbing dolls that decorated the tables as a nod to human sacrifice. But there is no evidence to back these claims. It's no coincidence, however, that actress Marisa Berenson, who attended the dinner, would later be cast in Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon. Nor is it happenstance that the director filmed his own masked ball at the Rothschilds' Mentmore Towers property in Buckinghamshire for his final film Eyes Wide Shut, which contains eerie echoes of the 1972 ball. End quote. These pictures actually look quite similar to ones I've seen more recently. They involve spirit cooking and a woman who I'm not allowed to mention. I'm sure you all know who I'm talking about. Put her name in the comments for someone who might not be aware. Now, it's clear that something very strange happened that night, but unless some whistleblower comes forward or some other piece of evidence is found, it seems we are left to wander the halls of our imagination, looking for connections that may or may not exist. But what do you think about these photos? Is this a real Illuminati ball? Please leave a comment below with your thoughts on this. I'm curious to hear what you think. I want to thank everyone for watching this video, and until next time, God bless you all.
The Matrix is older than you know. This is the 6th version. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to You can't make me do anything.
So this anomaly that the architect is talking about is what Neo immediately recognizes, and he says,
Choice. The problem is choice.
The first Matrix I designed was quite naturally perfect. It was a work of art, flawless, sublime, a triumph equaled only by its monumental failure.
Again, because the human mind rejected that perfection.
Thus I redesigned it, based on your history, to more accurately reflect the varying grotesqueries of your nature. However, I was again frustrated by failure. I have since come to understand that the answer eluded me because it required a lesser mind. However, I was again frustrated by failure. Thus, the answer was stumbled upon by another, an intuitive program.
The architect is referring to the Oracle, who represents the intuitive capacity.
Initially created to investigate certain aspects of the human psyche.
Again, this is another reference to the fact that these are all aspects of the human psyche, these so-called programs.
If I am the father of the Matrix, she would undoubtedly be its mother.
The Oracle.
Please. As I was saying, she stumbled upon a solution whereby nearly 99% of all test subjects accepted the program as long as they were given a choice, even if they were only aware of the choice at a near unconscious level. While this answer functioned, it was obviously fundamentally flawed, thus creating the otherwise contradictory systemic anomaly that, if left unchecked, might threaten the system itself. Ergo, those that refuse the program, while a minority, if unchecked, would constitute an escalating probability of disaster. However,
mountainous locations. So think about Moses meeting with God on Sinai, Jesus returning atop the Mount of Olives, the 200 watchers that descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon, and other examples, including Jacob's ladder. First of all, CERN's Large Hadron Collider, the LHC, is the largest single machine in the world, located on the border of France and Switzerland. Its stated purpose is to accelerate subatomic particles by the speed of light and force them to travel in a loop where they then collide in an attempt to recreate conditions that scientists believe applied during the earliest moments in the universe, the Big Bang and similar theories, whereupon the origins of all life as we know it on Earth today might be finally studied and understood. They've already discovered the so-called Higgs boson in 2012, frequently referred to as the God particle, that is said to be the single particle that makes up all matter and led to the birth of the universe. But the hunt for proof of Earth's origin is not their only focus. As Josh Peck and I discovered in our year-long investigation that resulted in the book Abaddon Ascending, and we are by no stretch of the imagination the only ones who believe this to be true, as the secular media, rife with non-believers, scientists, atheists, and skeptics of the supernatural, have also all been in a buzz over the global discussion around CERN's seemingly paranormal associations. Although CERN doesn't publicly profess to an agenda in relationship to God or Satan, evil versus good, the spiritual realm as it would be described by Bible believers and so on, recall what some say was just a CERN ritual hoax, deity Shiva at CERN, and, well, what appears to be stabbing a woman to death in a human sacrifice. The video ends with the videographer crying out and running away, and of course, when the film became public, experts at CERN said it was all just a joke. But all this does suggest there is something more supernatural on the drawing board at CERN than what is being admitted. Even Adam Barker of Tech Bubble wrote of CERN a while back that with the LHC, CERN are expecting to find other dimensions and open portals to these dimensions. If you have the image of Stargate in your head right now, you're spot on. That's what he said. And then he went on to draw parallels to the biblical story of Jacob's ladder. Perhaps you remember the dream that the patriarch Jacob had as he was fleeing his brother Esau. Jacob leaves Beersheba. He's on his way to Haran, and he comes to a certain place, and he stays there that night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones of the place, he puts it under his head. He lays down in that place to go to sleep. And as he dreams, it says, "Behold, there was a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God were ascending and descending on it." Then Jacob wakes up from his sleep, and he says, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it." And he was afraid. And he says, "How awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven," Genesis 28. Now this ladder, described in the first book of the Bible, describes something like a portal from heaven to earth through which God's angels, interdimensional and spiritual beings from another reality, were traveling. When Jacob wakes up, he refers to the location as a gate, much like today's trendy terms gateway or Stargate. One of CERN's goals is to recreate Jacob's ladder, according to Barker, and to reopen a portal that is said to have existed between Earth, Mars, Venus, and Saturn when the planets were in alignment many years ago. But whether Jacob's ladder really existed, he says, CERN are pretty sure that other dimensions do, and they're making it their goal to ensure that they open the portal for their use. Who knows? Now, Sergio Bertolucci, who is the official director for research and scientific computing at CERN, he was asked a while back about this extra-dimensional doorway by The Register, which is a London and New York operated science and technology journal. And he didn't hesitate with an enlightening response. He said, "Yes, out of this door might come something, or we might send something through it." And that sounds eerily similar to what Jesus said in John 1:51 when he said, "Truly, truly, I say unto you, you will see heaven open and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man." Now, prophecy in numerous parts of the Bible refer to a coming day when portals will be opened and spiritual entities are going to pass through and come to the earth. Now, if that's true, and if those verses are accepted for their literal meaning and not written off as some kind of poetic allegory, as some scholars have claimed, then the idea of CERN playing with gateways is a major concern. And if, as CERN claims, they're only out to explore space-time matter particles and the origin of our known universe and planets from exclusively a scientific or Darwinian-related perspective, if their agenda is unrelated to Bible prophecy entirely, then what is it with all this mystical symbolism that they knowingly are associating themselves with? Wouldn't it be more appropriate for them just to proudly display a polished statue of a particle or some artist depiction of the Big Bang instead of the statue of Shiva? So for those who have not yet heard about this controversial piece of art that CERN proudly exhibits between buildings 39 and 40 near the main building of their operation, it stands as really the most visible and celebrated imagery behind their work, Shiva. This is the Hindu god of destruction and a symbol of Shakti, or the life force. He is known very well as the destroyer. And in fact, in 2004, the government of India which has had a long-standing friendship with leaders behind the CERN project even before the completion of the Large Hadron Collider, they gifted CERN with this bronze work of an art depicting Shiva as Nataraja, the lord or sometimes king of the dance. This dance that Shiva performs in the sculpture is the one that provides the source of the creation cycle in Hindu mythology, the preservation of all life in existence and the termination of all life in existence. The Rudra Tandava is a dance that especially displays Shiva's sadistic personality as he rains down the ultimate destruction upon a weary planet. Now, from the unveiling of this Nataraja on CERN grounds, controversy's been launched from all sides, including irreligious groups, with questions as to CERN's motive in its exhibition. So far, CERN's response has just most often pointed to the notion that the statue was simply a gift to an international and multicultural scientific institution, and they show it there on their property as an act of gratitude. But if pure appreciation were the only contributing factor, the implications behind the symbolism might continue to disturb some, but it's likely that the issue would at least be dropped by many irreligious groups that could find within themselves to accept the motive that's being put forward by CERN. The plaque at the side beside the statue, however, reads in part, "Hundreds of years ago, Indian artists created visual images of dancing Shivas in a beautiful series of bronzes. In our time, physicists have used the most advanced technology to portray the patterns of the cosmic dance. The metaphor of the cosmic dance thus unifies ancient mythology, religious art, and modern physics." So right there out in the open for all to see is a direct correlation between the Hindu perception of Shiva hundreds of years ago, which is the concept of destroyer that I explained a moment ago, and our time, unifying, quote, ancient mythology, religious art, and modern physics. Additionally, a significant section of CERN is built upon the Saint in Ain, a department of France. In Roman times, the Saint genus Poeli was called Apaliacum. The name Poeli comes from the Latin Apaliacum with the Latin suffix lacum, which denoted possession. But the town and a temple were dedicated there in ancient times to Apollyon, the destroyer, the Shiva Horus, if you will. Apollyon is also the angel of the bottomless pit, referred to in Revelation 9:11. And then there is a connection between CERN and the Gothard Base Tunnel, the GBT, which is the world's deepest and longest tunnel system, consisting of two parallel passages, each moving in a single direction on a single track. The GBT passes directly beneath St. Gothard's Pass, a strategic north-south corridor that connects northern and southern Switzerland. The connection to the Large Hadron Collider and the GBT has to be made primarily because of the bizarre opening ceremony that was live streamed to the entire world on June 1, 2016, that included this highly occult, demonic dance with characterization, beginning with a call to unite the religions of the world by conducting an interfaith blessing of the tunnel beside a statue of St. Barbara, the patron saint of miners. Following the blessing at the statue of St. Barbara, the press, along with visiting dignitaries, also paid tribute to the 9 miners who had lost their lives during construction of the tunnel. Bodio's southern portal provided the visiting dignitaries a disturbing parade, really, of miners, erotic dancers, zombies, fallen angels, a transsexual love fest, all of whom were obeying the call of what they called the shepherd, whose yodels invoked the appearance of the event's infernal master of ceremonies, a goat man, portrayed by a young and energetic dancing male. This creature is shown with a Baphomet headdress, a goat demon's head, if you will, and a goat body costume with a hairy pelt. And then it had a formal tuxedo over the top. The imagery was heavily evocative of the German and Bavarian Christmas demon known as Krampus. Now, according to tradition, Krampus accompanies St. Nicholas on his midwinter rounds with the intent to steal boys and girls, putting them into a basket carried on his back, or he may decide to beat them with branches for being naughty. Maurice Bruce published a book on pre-Christian Alpine traditions in 1958, and he had this to say about the half-goat, half-demon entity. There seems to be little doubt as to the true identity, for in no other form is the full regalia of the horn god of the witches so well preserved. The birch, apart from its phallic significance, may have a connection with the initiation rites of certain witch covens, rites which entailed binding and scourging as a form of mock death. The chains could have been introduced in a Christian attempt to bind the devil, but again, they could be a remnant of pagan initiation rites. Krampus, despite his negative imagery and proclivities, was wildly popular during the holidays in Germanic and Alpine countries, so much so that an entire subgenre of greeting cards known as Krampus that invariably say things translated into English that mean greetings from Krampus were created, still used today. Late 19th century and turn of the century cards often feature Krampus with children, but also with buxom women. If those birch branches that turn up in the artwork are phallic in nature, then that makes perfect sense. Many show the goat man in formal dress and a tuxedo-style cutaway formal coat and trousers, but with his usual horned goat face and always with his tongue extended. Now, this tongue out pose seems to be popular with ancient gods, whether they're Mayan, Hindu, Babylonian, Egyptian, Greek, or even British. For some reason, the coat of arms from the Prince of Wales supports both a lion and a unicorn with their tongues extended, for instance. More than likely, this tongue position represents sexual lust and sex magic, fornicating with fallen angels, which is probably the real reason that old Krampus can't keep his tongue inside his head. The ancient symbol of the horned god, referenced by Maureen Bruce in the quote that I made a moment ago, it allows us to connect our goat demon from the opening ceremony at the GBT to CERN. Despite the fact that the Large Hadron Collider sits 3 to 4 hours down a twisty road from the location, the horn god's circular logic and passion for human depravity, Hernunos, as is sometimes called, or Cernunnos, or the Green Man of British lore, simply had to make an appearance at this occult ceremony. Josh Peck and I and many other researchers have written extensively regarding the in-game plans for tunneling beneath the earth and smashing atoms to smithereens as nothing more than a thinly veiled attempt to open portals. But the opening ceremony at Gotthard made it clear that these portals are intended to do something else, and that is to release demonic entities. The twin tunnels of the Gotthard base tunnel commence with twin portals on a single track. These northward and southward journeys symbolize the death, birth, death cycle of the Green Man, who dies in the fall and winter and rises in the spring, summer. The tunnel ceremony was all about sex rites and rebirth, leading to a new world order that's a complete reversal of the Judeo-Christian design. This included the triple goddess and the horned god, along with human sacrifice and a return to pagan worship, all of which lie at the center of this nauseating ritual play, which you can probably still watch on YouTube, which commenced with the interfaith blessing and the invocation of the triple goddess. Then this shepherd arouses a horned man who struts into the scene, complete with eerie red lighting and smoke like he's rising from the abyss. That also included this creepy angel that flies down over the top of some of the miners, presumably representing the 9 who died. And then once the first phase, we'll call it the opening of the portal, concluded, the various religious and political dignitaries boarded the train and headed toward the northern terminus at Earthsfield. And note that the choice to begin in the south and end in the north represents the ascension of something to the surface. That is, the opening of the abyss. The primary performances took place on a massive outdoor stage in Erzfield, a small city that lies within the canton of Uri in Switzerland. Uri, by the way, is a type of extinct bison, echoing the horned theme once again. So, as the dignitaries settled into their comfortable bandstand seats, a display lit up, showing what looked like a huge rock mountainside. Dancers dressed as miners climbed this rock face, and they dug into the earth, so to speak, to unveil what was beneath the earth, a great machine formed from human arms that rotated and churned into various shapes and design, many of which resembled the Large Hadron Collider at CERN. Once this opening was achieved, the miners stripped off their orange jumpsuit attire and took up arms. That is, they used staves to perform a dance routine that looked like warfare. Then once that battle concluded, a group of women joined the men, and the women are wearing only white underwear. And the entire dance troupe engaged in a frenzied display amidst a cloud of dust that simulated smoke, I guess. And it was this forensic dance that aroused a giant. So clearly, the endeavor connected to CERN is far more than Switzerland's braggadocio about an engineering feat. The connection between CERN and ritualistic summoning of a sleeping giant, the horned god of Cernunnos, or even Melkart, both are types of the rising, dying god. And Melkart slept for half the year, which may be why Elijah told the priests of Baal to call louder, because he might be sleeping. Now, as the giant in this ritual dance awakens, the dancers perform ritualistic sex rites, similar to what I believe unfolded on Jeffrey Epstein's island, if you will. And you can read our exhaustive analysis of the symbolism behind that mind-boggling event in Abaddon Ascending. Of course, I can only speculate, but I note the connection between Nimrod, Apollo, and Abaddon, Apollyon at CERN, and the history of the region are all highly curious. Apollo was worshipped by the Romans of that area, as well as the Greeks and in central France. Apollo was equated with the Celtic god Atep Omerus. These two characters were combined to create Apollo Atep Omerus, which can be translated as great horseman or possessing a great horse. In the Celtic belief, horses were closely related to the sun. The interesting thing to note is the connection between this idea of Apollo being associated with horses in France, where part of the LHC and CERN resides, and what the book of Revelation states about Abaddon, where it says, "And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were, as it were, crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. End quote. I also note that Revelation chapter 9, after describing how these devil worshippers will be judged during the Great Tribulation period, it ends in verse 21 saying, "Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries," which is the Greek pharmakia, "nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts." Now, pharmakia is the word that describes the ancient occultic effort to use mind-expanding drugs during rituals in order to open a doorway for making contact with unseen supernatural entities. So, given these descriptions, is it possible that CERN will have something to do with the opening of the bottomless pit described in Revelation 9?
Hi there, I'm Jeff Foxworthy, and over the
all the sci-fi movies be telling you the same thing about antimatter, darkness, antimatter. Now remember, I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna show you this. This is the best way I can show you. In the last movie, not the last movie, but one of them movies I was watching, not the Transformer, but that's even in that too. But because I told you, Satan always puts what he does. He doesn't hide what he do. He knows that we are so dumbed down. Only the ones that say are enlightened, these Illuminati, these enlightened occultic people will understand what they're actually watching. We who have been lied to by our education system to give us what we thought was knowledge, but it was only to pull the wool over our eyes so we don't see the real world. Is this too much? So what Satan does is he always puts what he does out in the open. What he does, he doesn't hide it like we think. He makes it so obvious that you don't pay attention to it. You just ain't paying attention to it. Now, so what they do in the movies is Hollywood, of course, is occultic. It was always an arm of the Illuminati to condition you to receive. It's called programming. They programming you for what's coming. That's why we are accepting so much that we're accepting. We're not just accepting it because we just woke up one day and wanted to accept it. They conditioned us. Even with this homosexual stuff, we were conditioned years ago to accept this. We didn't just start accepting this. We started, this is a long time ago. This was way back with Bugs Bunny, when Bugs Bunny would dress up like a woman. They was working on us a long time to get us to accept homosexuality. And that's why back in the 80s, when all the guys, the hair bands, and Michael Jackson with his sweet self and Ready for the World, these guys walking around with baby hair and curls, we was already being conditioned for what was coming. Hollywood is about programming. So they put this stuff in your face, so you can have a reference in your subconscious for it, and you'll receive it based upon the fact that you already have a reference. It's familiar to you already. Now, y'all hearing what I'm trying to tell y'all? This is the reason why it's a known fact that if if a child watches sexual images, they'll become promiscuous, because it's sowing a seed, a reference in them. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Now, so the movie I'm talking about, what's going to happen? This is the way the mark of the beast is. Because I kept saying, Lord, it's got to be I understand it's the technology that we don't realize that's going to cause people not to understand what this mark is.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stranger Things shows you a lot of stuff. What's fascinating about that show is that it's actually based on a true story. Most people don't know about that. It's based on this story about Camp Hero, where literally those 3-letter agencies were doing experiments on children and animals in this former Air Force base. Were they trying to open up portals? Yeah, I think they were. They were getting these kids to astral project and all that stuff. Think about the story of 11. So her name is 11, which again, in all the witchcraft stuff, 11, Aleister Crowley said that was the magic number. And then later in the show, they start calling her El. And El, Elohim, El means God. I mean, just think about the monster in the first one is the Demigorgon. There is a demon called the Gorgon, these mythologies. Like, that's a real entity. So when they're talking about the demon Gorgon, it's literally a demon. Guys, there's nothing new under the sun.
Watching the news and this happened.
Let's start off with a check of your next weather. Meteorologist Alyssa Carlson. She joins us live in the studio. Alyssa, this really is the calm before the storm. Yeah, no. Oh. You know, we're going to go ahead and go to break right now.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
Let me see what you got. What you going to? That's all. Ooh. Ooh. I'm whipping her ass, Cindy. Yeah. What's up? Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Run them up.
Could have been a carrot in that dress, but I guess you brought pumpkins back in season tonight. Good thing there's no fairy godmother around. You'd be carting Cinderella off to the ball. Oh, what's this? Elijah taking the stage. Oh. Wow. Elijah Lewis just slapped the heck out of me.
Don't you ever talk about my wife that way.
Relax, my friend. It was just a joke. I'm a comedian, Elijah. You know how it is. No disrespect, Angela. You're gorgeous.
I said keep my wife's name out your...
The values that you work hard for what you want in life.
For what you want in life.
That your word
is your bond. That you do what you say you're going to do.
keep your promise.
That you treat people
That you treat people
with dignity and respect, and because we want our children and all children in this nation.
Go that way and sin no more. Lest something worse come upon you. The Jews believe, the Talmudic Jews, which is running the world, believe that the Shekinah, when they over at the Wailing Wall, you know the wall in Jerusalem when they going back and forth sitting over there praying. Y'all know what when they over there doing that, that is a sexual act that they are doing with Shekinah. They don't believe their God's a male. They believe their God's a female. That's why when you see all of the pictures, and the Roman Catholics also believe that. That's why they have Mary. They worship in Mary. They ain't worshiping Christ. So because they believe that Christ, that they're not Christ, but their God is a female, then they're using all of their media, their books, their knowledge, their wisdom, their music to turn the image of God into a female. That's why they have exalted females in our society, and they have downplayed males. That's why your child support system is like it is. Gave the woman the power over the man through the law, not through nature, because nature puts the man over the woman. But in the law system, they put the woman over the man. That's why you have brothers that having babies, and even though they love their children, they give the woman an apartment and give him the jailhouse. Why? Because they gave the woman the power over him. They did it with the law. That's why when you marry a woman, you get divorced, she immediately get power over you. You need to know that, brother. That's why you need to know the woman you're marrying. Because she ain't gonna let you go on with your life. She gonna use the power given to her, called the courts, to begin to destroy you. Why? Because what they did with the court system, with child support and alimony, was really wealth transfer. It was a way to rob the man, take from him and give it to the woman, by way putting the female over the male and mess up the order of God. That's why you can't be with no man now, because you've been brought up to think that you're on the same level with a man. You don't know the man's over you, like the Bible put it. Say man, therefore, but you think that the man's got to be as wise or smart as you. It's not even as wise or smart as you. It's the fact of his image. The spirit world, listen, the spirit world respects his image, because if it didn't, the Bible says that's why women need a head cover, because the spirit world respects the image of the man, understanding he is the covering of the woman. So Satan has turned it upside down and got y'all women covering us. Y'all covering us. So guess what? If you covering me, then instead of you being my glory, I'm your glory. So I like your clothes. My eyebrows are arched, because I'm the glory. See, I'm taking on the glory of the female. Y'all see, I'm trying to help y'all here. My hair is longer than yours. The glory of the female. That's why your sons look gay, because he's walking in the glory of the female, because he never seen the male in the house be the strength. The man wasn't standing in the correct image. It ain't the fact he's in the house. Don't never get it twisted because a man's in the house. That don't mean he being a man. That don't mean he got the correct image, because most brothers be in the house to be disconnected from what's going on in the house. You need a man active. Being a head active man. Are y'all there? So what Satan has been listen to me now. So this Shekinah is a trick, because what it does is you begin to accept the female in the place of the male, because you think the female is more spiritual than the male. Is that not what you've been taught? I don't teach it, but that's what you've been taught. How can a female be more spiritual than the male when the Bible says the man was created in the image and the likeness of God? So that got me an understanding that men by nature have a natural nature of God. If it wasn't true, then why are they trying to erase men? I'm talking about all men, not Christian men, all men. Because the image of man showed. That's why Satan hates marriage. Because when you get married, it is that direct image. It's correct. It's what God looks like. So he hates that. But if he can't get you from being married, he'll mess up your marriage by messing your roles up. And this is what feminism done. Feminism came in and uprooted the home and began to say whoever make the money is the leader, forgetting the fact that money has nothing to do with spiritual authority. So the women are making the money, but Satan don't respect her. So he's still in the home. The woman's making the money, but Satan's in the house, got the kids. So our Talmudic Freemasonry society, which is what our politician system is, helped y'all by giving the woman the power to get rid of the man and make y'all the queen bee. And now that y'all are the queen bee, you see that you cannot produce anything other than dysfunction and chaos. Don't look at the ones that the sons went to the NBA. That's luck. That's a fluke. Because if you go back and look at what the sons were saying before they went to the NBA, their mamas was a mess. It's just now he can buy a house. The dysfunction in our modern homes is coming because our females are now in the place of the male. And our females have fallen in love with that position, that even though she knows it's failing, that's why feminists know it's failing, they still will stay in that position because they just like the place of power. So the men have vacated that position. And because our sons have been raised with the female in the position of the male, they don't ever see themselves in the position of the male. So they take the submissive role. So it's not just the fact you don't have a man in your house. It's the fact that you are in the place of a male. This is the Shekinah spirit. In every sitcom, every song, every movie, this Shekinah spirit, this female goddess, God. That's why all of y'all have turned overnight into these goddess-looking women with 16-inch eyelashes and all of this goddess look and all this long hair. Why? Because this is the image. Because goddesses need worship. And so women are being worshipped as goddesses instead of being the helpmeet to the man. They're shining with the false glory or the Shekinah. But what they were supposed to shine with was the glory of the man. So you're really supposed to walk in that man's light. But you shining, but it's with the false light of the Shekinah. Stand on your feet. I'm done. Y'all ain't ready for me. Y'all ain't ready. Stand on your feet. Amen. Come on, son. Now, if you really look at, now you see marriage is deeper than what you think. It wasn't just y'all getting married. It's deep. Satan has trivialized it. He made marriage just like it ain't nothing at all. Like it's just two people like each other, and we just be together for a while, then we decide to get married. That's not what marriage is. The whole understanding of marriage, why do you think you take the man's name for? To show you that these women are shining in Shekinah, they won't even take your name no more. They're going to hyphenate your name. Do you understand what hyphenation means? I'm still me. Do you understand that's what that means? So if you hyphenate your name, you did not even take my name. So that means I'm giving you all the benefits of a husband without the respect of one. Hyphenate. That's what they're doing. Marriage is not just two people like each other and get married. Marriage is a woman actually saying that I'm actually taking on who you are. That's why the Bible says, wives, adapt. That means transform to your husband The whole reason, y'all see, y'all want Christianity marriage. Y'all want this old New Age stuff. The goal is to adapt. Why? Because you're adapting to this man who's walking in the image of God. And are y'all there? And for that, listen, for your adaptation, you receive the benefits of walking with a godly man. Protection, security, which is really the main two. Love, which is what women live on. That's like gasoline for a woman. And everything you're doing on your own in your Shekinah is trying to get protection, security, and love. And you can't get protection, security, and love without a God man. So you're getting it from cupcakes, and you're getting it from wine, and you're getting it from these chicks and your girlfriends and your go-out partners, because you really want the protection, what a man is providing, but you're too busy in y'all Shekinah for a man to even cover you, because you already got your own covering. The Bible says the man, oh, y'all ain't hearing me. The man is your covering. So when you submit yourself, when you submit yourself, the man now becomes your protector. He gives you security, and he gives you love. Now in that 3 chord, you are complete. You don't even know you don't know you're complete, because feminists told you you're not complete. But these feminists have went out there for 50 years and they found out that they said women are the most unhappy group now. That's why every show you watch, what are women doing? Drinking. These women are alcoholics now. Why? Because they're unhappy. Why? Because they believe the lie that I don't need no man. But they drinking because they don't have security, protection, and love. But if they would have done it God's way, then a man would have covered them and given them security, protection, and love. So this Shekinah is messing y'all up. It's a false light. It's a light of remaking God into y'all female image. And until y'all break that and understand that God's way was correct, the way he set the home was right. And some of y'all know if y'all had the mind that y'all got now, you would have kept your man if you understood what your role really was. But feminism taught y'all, which feminism was thought about by the Rockefellers. Y'all do know the Rockefellers came up with feminism. They paid, what's the girl, Gloria Steinem. They paid her to push feminism. They paid the papers and stuff to push feminism. You know what Gloria Steinem did? Came after y'all black women. Because she knew if I get the black women involved, the white women going to follow them. The black woman who had no issue with feminism, our men was never over y'all. We coming out of slavery, marching with afros together in the 60s. They done came with feminism, made y'all think y'all got something to fight us for. So they gave y'all welfare to kick out y'all man. Gave y'all child support system and gave y'all domestic violence laws and put us against each other. And that's why we think we always fight one another. Child support don't bring together no family. But Gloria Steinem came and had the black women out there taking off their bras with marching as if they got something to fight for. Instead of understanding that was her and her man. The white woman was oppressed by her white man and she wanted freedom from that. But the bad thing about it, the white woman chickened out on y'all. She made y'all leave y'all man, but she still went and got married to her man. So the white woman got her man and you ain't got your man. And now she got your man. And now you're trying to catch up to get her man. Look how messed up it is. But we already had it right. You had no fight with the man. Now we all fighting. There was no fight with the man. But this Shekinah thing that made women want to shine, ain't that a good word? Oh, that's such a good word. That's a good word. That's like something in a book or something. It makes y'all want to shine without the man. Ain't that what Jezebel, unhusbanded? See, some of y'all listen. Have you ever seen women in a good marriage, in a good home, and they still like, I just need to do something for myself. I just feel like I need my self-worth. She want to shine. She really said, I want to do something without him. I need my own glory. So she give up the glory that we got, bro. To protect the glory, the love, the strength. To go out there to get around a bunch of women that eat cupcakes and drink wine. And that's all they doing.
Victor Von Doom was like a genius, one of the smartest guys in the world, and he attracted the attention of the U.S. government, and they brought him to America to do the science for them.
From Latveria, which was a place very much like World War II Germany.
So even though his science was almost always a version of some kind of witchcraft too. So you think about then his dad's name is
Werner von Doom.
Werner von Doom, that sounds an awful lot like Werner von Braun, who came to the United States during Operation Paperclip to run their space program. That is interesting.
That's way too close, man.
Okay, so Dr. Doom is older than the moon landing stuff.
Absolutely.
dad's name is an awful lot like the guy who would not have been famous until after 1969.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a little bit creepy.
It's super weird, dude. And the crossover of being brought to the United States specifically for his scientific prowess. And they also knew by then that sect of Germans, they were notorious for dabbling in the dark arts.
He was actually buddies with Walt Disney. And obviously what's interesting in like the biblical cosmology is the main guy in NASA's space program to get to the moon, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote on his tombstone, famously, Psalm 19:1.
Right.
The heavens declare the glory of God and the firmament is his handiwork.
That's the only thing on his tombstone. It's the only thing on his tombstone.
Jack Parsons started JPL. The interesting part about Jack Parsons is this guy was a Thelemite in that, so he was in Aleister Crowley's secret society of like Satanists, basically. And Tony Stark's dad was named Howard Stark, and it seems very obvious. They patterned this character of Howard Stark after Jack Parsons. Looks just like him. If you could imagine a 50s guy, he's like the perfect epitome of that. He's got like a little mustache, he's got his hair slicked back, he's usually wearing like a fedora and
exactly the way he's depicted in the movies.
Yeah, so this guy was a rocket scientist before that was even a thing, and he was also like an occultist, a big time one. What's crazy is what Jack Parsons' real first name is. Do you know what his real first name is?
I don't.
Marvel.
No way. Dude.
His dad's name was Marvel Parsons, and he was named after his dad, but his dad was a philanderer, and his mom changed his name to Jack, but never officially. So his name is literally Marvel Parsons.
That's insane. Marvel
like,
Comics. Like
you can't even make this, like I said, you can't make this stuff up.
In the Bible, Jesus suddenly goes from age 12 to 30. 12 to 30. And that's some pretty bad storytelling. Where are the volumes of text dealing with the missing 18 years? I'll tell you where. They were offered up as a sacrifice to the god of ecumenical politics.
You make it sound like there's some church conspiracy to cover up the truth about Christ. Bullshit. Any important material about Christ would give people a better understanding of the nature of God. Why would they leave any of it out?
Because it's all closely tied in with his family.
His mother and father.
Brothers and sisters.
Jesus didn't have brothers and sisters. Mary was a virgin.
Mary gave birth to Christ without having known a man's touch. This is true. But she did have a husband. And do you really think he would have stayed married to her for all those years if he wasn't getting laid? The nature of God and the virgin birth, those are leaps of faith. But to believe a married couple never got down, well, that's just plain gullibility.
Meaning?
The blood that flows through your veins shares a chromosome or two at the genetic level with the one you call Jesus. Bethany, you are the great grandniece of Jesus Christ.
I am a seraphim, the highest choir of angels. You do know what an angel is, don't you? Metatron acts as the voice of God. Any documented occasion when some Yahoo claims that God has spoken to them, they're speaking to me. Or they're talking to themselves.
Why doesn't God speak for himself?
Glad you decided to join the conversation. To answer that, human beings have neither the oral nor the psychological capacity to withstand the awesome power of God's true voice. Were you to hear it, your mind would cave in and your heart would explode within your chest. We went through 5 Adams before we figured that one out. Back in the old days, God was vengeful and hot-tempered, and his wrath was bore by the angel of death named Loki. When Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, that was Loki. When the waters wiped out everything with the exception of Noah and his menagerie, that was Loki. And he was good at what he did. But one day, he refused to bear God's wrath any longer.
Why?
He listened to his friend, a Grigori by the name of Bartleby.
Grigori?
One of the choirs of angels. They're called Watchers. Guess what they do? So one day, Loki's wiping out all the firstborn of Egypt.
Ah, the 10th plague.
Tell a person that you're the Metatron and they stare at you blankly. Mention something out of a Charlton Heston movie and suddenly everybody's a theology scholar. May I continue uninterrupted? Once he's done with the firstborn, Loki takes his friend Bartleby out for a post-slaughter drink. And over many rounds, they get into this discussion about whether or not murder in the name of God is okay. And in the end, Bartleby convinces Loki to quit his position and take one which doesn't involve slaughter. So, very inebriated, Loki tells God he quits, throws down his fiery sword, and gives him the finger, which ruins it for the rest of us, because from that day forward, God decreed that angels could no longer imbibe alcohol, hence all the spitting. So, for their insolence, God decreed that neither Loki nor Bartleby would ever be allowed back into...
Cat Williams was trying to always say, Brandon don't wear a dress.
Because P. Diddy be wanting the body, and you gotta tell him no.
No, he was saying it in the media, so I thought he was heckling me. He was really trying to help me at the time. I didn't know that. I was immature. Right. I feel like, dang, why I'm trying to make it. Why you bashing me? And then he was trying to warn me, you know, don't get in the dress. So, the Awakened Brandon, you couldn't pay him $1 trillion to get in the dress. Message! Yeah. You know, for me, I can only speak for my journey. Once I put the dress on and I had that fire was put out.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah. And I only did it one time. So imagine doing it 3 times, 4 times. But then Tyler Perry did it, he got stronger. I don't know the rules. You know what I'm saying? This is what happened to me. I'm not here to knock another brother because that's their path. Yeah. That's one thing I don't do is knock my brothers because that's their path. But I'm saying my path, when I put on a dress, it came with a demon baby mama and a starter kit for hell. Message! That's what happened to me. You haven't seen me since, to be honest. But then I feel stronger though.
Would you like warn other stand-up comedians about a dress?
Yeah, I had an interview too where I would do it.
B. The Golden Calf. Created by Nancy Goldruff, a former kindergarten teacher, in 1989. Bought by the Complex Corporation in 1991. Broadcast nationally as the movie Funtime Hour. Since its inception, has spawned 2 theatrical films, 16 records, 8 primetime specials, and a library of price-to-own video cassettes. Not to mention bi-coastal theme parks, dubbed Movie World. Did I miss anything, or?
You forgot Movie Magazine.
Damn it.
Now, is there a point to this?
You and your board are idolaters. I can't believe you forgot the magazine. It's you. Do you know much about voodoo? It's a fascinating practice. No real doctrine of faith to speak of, more an arrangement of superstitions. The most well-known of which is the voodoo doll. You see, it's a mock-up of an individual is subjected to various pokes and prods. The desired result is that the individual will feel those effects.
Call security. Yes, sir. Now.
All lines are currently down. Okay, I'm gonna have to... Would you just knock it off? You're doing it again. Now stop. Fuck. What do we talk about? You are responsible for raising an icon which draws worship from the Lord. You have broken the first commandment. More than that, I'm afraid not a one of you passes for a decent human being. Your continued existence is a mockery of morality. Like you, Mr. Burton. Last year, you cheated on your wife of 17 years 8 times. You even had sex with her best friend while you were supposed to be home watching the kids.
In the bed that you and your wife share, no less.
Mr. Newman, you got your girlfriend drunk at last year's Christmas party and then paid a kid from the mailroom to have sex with her while she was passed out, just so you could break up with her guilt-free when she sobbingly confessed in the morning. She killed herself 3 months later.
Mr. Brace disowned his gay son. Very compassionate, Mr. Brace.
Mr. Ray put his mother in a third-rate nursing home and used the profits from the sale of her home to buy an oriental rug for himself. Heavens. Mr. Barker flew to Thailand on the company account to have sex with an 11-year-old boy. Mr. Holtzman okayed the production of movie dolls from materials he knew to be toxic and unsafe because it was, survey says, less costly. You, on the other hand, are an innocent. You lead a good life. Good for you. But you, Mr. Whitland, you have more skeletons in your closet than this assembled party. I cannot even mention them aloud. You're his father, you sick fuck. Good. Not bad, right? That's great work. Very good. Whew. Well, alone at last. You know, with the exception of Miss Price here, there isn't a decent human being amongst you. Not one. Do you know what makes a human being decent? Fear. And therein lies the problem. None of you has anything left to fear anymore. You rest comfortably in seats of inscrutable power, hiding behind your false idol, far from judgment, lives shrouded in secrecy, even from one another. But not from God.
They know that aliens who is to come is us. That's why something spiritual, every now and then something spiritual happen. How in the hell can some motherfuckers from damn Bankhead make a video about your mama and your sister too, riding down the street on Bose, rolling up, slamming Cadillac doors? What's the name of the group? Outcast. And the white man looking in binoculars and he's seeing aliens, but yet they are black people. And when they get to the pyramids, their eyes turn green. Because the aliens who to come is us. There's terrestrial and extraterrestrial. Terrestrial means earthbound, a product of Earth. Extraterrestrial means beyond Earth, which is the Nephilim, which is the book Breaking the God Spell. You got any more of those still? Breaking the God Spell. You got one? Well, I guess somebody will be lucky enough to get it.
So this old school film, The Law of the Sun, just DDT'd us with the truth.
It's called reptilians. The reptilians like to eat the animals of Earth and occasionally enjoyed eating human flesh too.
They brainwashed the Earthlings by using the name of God when their true intentions were to invade and overtake the Earth.
But this was a violation of the Universal Code, which states that no planet should interfere with any other planet as long as its people live with a spirit of love and harmony.
They cunningly devised a plan that would not breach the Universal Code.
They brainwashed individuals and used them to instigate disorder in society. This gave the reptilians a reason to interfere. They then intended to have their compatriots immigrate to Earth so they could control the planet before the space police interfered.
Angels smile upon those with positive thoughts, and negative thoughts will only attract those that are evil. Exploration of the right mind will lead you to enlightenment, whereas exploring the wrong mind will throw you into despair. But remember, even those who have fallen into hell are allowed to return to heaven as long as they recognize their mistakes and repent.
Book of Enoch, Book of Giants. Stop being lazy, use them thumbs and go research, because ain't no way they put this in the TV show. Y'all let me know what y'all think about The Law of the Sun in the comments. Like or follow for more wisdom and stay tuned. Follow me on YouTube if you want that exclusive content. Hit that Gmail, you're trying to do business.
They put the truth in kids' cartoons.
I suppose there's no harm in walking you through our plan for world domination. We did work hard on it. It all starts here with the banks. We don't care about the banks. Where are the animals? Really? I don't know. I'll stop all our domination plans. I'll pull my lizard men out of Congress. We'll stop using Hollywood to hasten the New World Order. Just let me go. Irving, call security and have these... Sir, it's... This always gives me the creeps, sir. He's the president of Hollywood. He's supposed to give you the creeps. Greetings, your tinseliness, imperious leader of Hollywood.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
I think it's time to stop. I knew it! Something! The symbol of the Illuminati.
Called A Never-Ending Story. You thought it was a child movie.
What is the secret of this enchanted book? What wonders are hidden within its pages? What magical spell does it cast on all who read it? What is the secret of the never-ending story?
But that's impossible!
Enter a world where a young boy's imagination becomes a vivid reality. The world of Atreyu and Artax, the Rockbiter, and a good and kind gnome. A world that is vast and eternal, treacherous and dazzling, unforgettable and free. For anyone who's ever made a wish, believed in a fantasy, or had a dream, this is the never-ending story.
And he gets this little book, and he goes through this adventure. And at the end of the movie, midway of the movie, they say, hell, coming to find out that the little boy that was reading the book of all these magnificent heroes, the other boy on the other side who was going through all the trial was him. And they said, and at the end, they said, well, hell, our world is falling down because he doesn't believe in himself. It's all about you. That's the key. You can't, that's the key. This is the real knowledge. There's a mystery of the world, and the mystery of the world is look for no God to save you but yourself, because it's within you. It's within you. It's just that the devil came down about 2,000 years ago, basically, when we get into this, and he made you start worshiping him so you would not cultivate the energy within you. And that's your slavery and your real bondage. And this is the key what we have to deal with here. Because, I mean, we go through, we see things on TV and we see this shit and we say, when is this shit over with? But the key is, in the 60s, we didn't have this knowledge. In the 70s, we didn't have this knowledge. In most of the 80s, we didn't have this knowledge. You see what I'm saying? We only had a few people talking about it in the past years before that, and we all thought they were crazy. But now, we have the knowledge. As a matter of fact, some people saying, you know, they say things like, too much knowledge is dangerous to the untrained ear. That's not true. What is happening here is this. The knowledge is here. Now, there is no more secrets. There is no more secret societies that's holding back knowledge. You see, the white boy understood that they would keep people dead long enough until they will be so dead, until there will come a time where they will be so much immersed in ignorance until they can give them knowledge and they will reject knowledge. And that's when he start putting out all the knowledge. That's why you go to your family members and they reject the shit. And mainly you. So they know that most black people reject this. I don't want to hear that black shit. I don't want to hear that shit, that old crazy voodoo shit. So because they reject it, now they can put the stuff out. So there is no more such thing as secrets. The secret is that the masses of the people hate knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? So as of around 1985, they knew that the people would reject knowledge because they knew you rejected it in the 70s and the 60s. So they said, now we can put all the stuff out that we had held for the last 140 years that we dug up around the world. And as a result, that's why we only have less than 1% of the amount of people that really bears witness to what the hell is going on. You see. So
every year, it brings together the 6 societies that secretly rule the world. The Reptoids.
Here comes the toast of the undercrust. It's the Reptoids, honey.
The Atlanteans.
They're a little wet. They're a little wild. It's the Atlanteans.
Catholic Church.
They wear sandals and create scandals. It's the Catholic Church.
Mamma mia, bucca de petto. The Juggalos, for some reason.
And these jokers are wild. It's the Juggalos.
That's right.
If magic is all we've ever known. What? You bitches down to clown? We secretly control global finance.
Us. That's right, bitches. Ridley is back and randier than ever. Top that entrance, motherfuckers. And of course, our arch rivals, the Illuminati.
Please welcome all partying Illuminati.
I love you, Jay-Z.
Green Key! Lin-Manuel!
Illuminati confirmed.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall.
Oh, God! President Reagan is dead!
Harvey Weinstein and his evil, ugly brother Bob. I'm gonna have to drink on this, man. You know, talk about now. See, you waited for 4 shots in for you to start getting juicy, and then this thing got real hot all of a sudden. Did you turn this up? I think in Hollywood you always get crappy deals.
But that's not just your 7th or 8th deal. Maybe your first one.
I think the first one we got a crappy deal, definitely. But the second one. This first one was so big, you know, we opened at $42 million.
Yes.
Which was unheard of.
Yes.
And they try to say for a black director that was a record breaker. No, that was a record for just a comedy director, period. And that's what I love about Keenan. Keenan was like, no, don't you put the black label on me. Don't you minimalize or marginalize my success by you trying to label it. Let's let that bleed so that other black people can know that there's not such a thing as just black success. Because black success has a ceiling. No, just success. And I just so happen to be black. Mm-hmm. And that's how he wrote. And, you know, it was huge. Mm-hmm. So they was trying to make a deal for the second one the weekend of, because they seen the track and they know it was going to be huge. So we got a good deal on the second one. Right. You know, we got 20 against 20 deal. And then Miramax did what they did. You know, I always say, you know, they didn't just rape and molest women. They raped niggas too. Molested us in them deals. They were terrible people. But God comes for you. Mm-hmm. All the toxic things that you did to me and my family, when you took the franchise from us, took it from us. That was a franchise and then they stole the idea for the third one.
Right.
We as gentlemen, we walked away from the third one because it was like, well, first of all, they took it from us, put it in and gave it to somebody else because we couldn't make a deal. So they gave it to somebody else, and they didn't even tell us. They read about it in the papers. We was like, okay, cool. So then that crapped out, because I'm gonna tell you something. You can try. You can try. You can't do Wayans shit without the Wayans.
Yeah.
You can try, but eventually you're gonna lose a lot of money. Because what we do is special. we have 200 years of comedy between me, Sean, and Keenan. Damon, Kim, we have a lot of years of excellence of what we do. You can't just put anybody on well, they're gonna just do it. You can't do what we do. You can do a version. And so they did the third one, took the idea, we pitched them. Because we came to the table, we said, all right, if you want to do this, we're gonna get a $30 million deal. Because you made this much money on the first one, you made that much money on the second one, we're gonna get 30 against 30. All right? Okay, bet. We come in, Keenan has the meeting, pitches his idea. They go, we love it. We're gonna make an offer. They make an offer for what we made on the first one.
But hold on, you just said we're gonna you got us on the first one. We did okay, 20 for 20 on the second one. We're gonna do 30 for 30. Ain't no offer to be made. You already told us what we gonna get on the third one. How you gonna make an offer?
Yeah, you feel that outrageous feeling that you feel?
Yeah.
That's what we felt. Times 3. So we was like, you know what? No. We told you what it was. You're not playing gentlemanly. So we went and pitched that movie, and we pitched White Chicks to 5 other places. Everybody bid. So then they come and go, okay, we're gonna come over the top, and we're gonna pay you, I think it was like a 20 against 20 deal, whatever. And
But you got that on the second
22 against 22. And we was like, no, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go do this movie with Joe Roth and Revolution. And they took the idea, and I was like, oh, fuck you. So they took the idea, they hired the Zucker brothers, and they brought them on to do Scary Movie 3 based on the idea that we told them. Now, you got that one off. Part 4 didn't do as well. Because now,
you ain't got the Marlons, you ain't got the Williams ideas.
Yeah, the first one, you could fool the audience. They see Anna, they see Regina, they're like, oh, okay. And then they get to like, hey, whoa, this don't, I like Regina and I love Kevin, I love Anthony, but this don't taste like Wayans. Then you do the 4th one, diminishing returns. Then you do the 5th one, and the 5th one, I was doing Haunted House at the time. I showed Haunted House to them because I was looking for distribution. They were trying to buy it and shelve it, but they tried to take the ideas that I had in Haunted House and apply it to Scary Movie 5. But you don't know the formula. So they offered, we said no. I took it to, what was the name, Open Road, and we got, what was the name of that, another company to give us the marketing budget, Endgame, and I made that movie for $1.5 million. It opened to $19 million, which is huge.
Yeah.
Went on to make $70 million worldwide. Scary Movie 5 or 6, whatever it was, it died. And they spent a lot of money to make that movie. Now, that money that you spent making that movie, you could have saved you some money and made some money.
And you could have recouped the money that you spent making the movie.
All you gotta do is pay the professionals that do it. And I'm not asking you for anything that's crazy. I'm just asking for you to respect what the craft is and what we know how to do. I wanna all make money together. And then, but God is everywhere, right? So we didn't retaliate, we did nothing with it like this.
You didn't file no lawsuit like he did?
We should have. We should have. We didn't. Go like this, all good. We go on, made our money, White Chicks, made another classic, Little Man made another classic, we do our thing.
Right.
Fast forward to, you know, sometimes you ain't gotta do nothing, because God's gonna do it all.
Let him have it.
God's revenge, when God comes for you, you gotta trust God. You don't retaliate, vengeance is mine. They took Miramax, this company Miramax, Disney took it. Then they had the Weinstein Co. And then all this stuff started going down with the rape allegations, and they took that company too. And now, your brother's in jail, and you ain't in the business. I didn't have to do nothing.
Right.
All you had to do was be good businessmen.
Right.
We asked for nothing. We did nothing wrong.
We didn't ask for nothing. We didn't ask for anything that we didn't earn.
But sometimes they get mad that a black man has a nerve to ask for what his money's supposed to be. Don't you tell me what I'm supposed to make. This is what my value is. And if you want that, then you're going to have to pay me what I'm worth.
And if not, hey man,
I'm gonna keep it moving.
I ain't got no beef. And we just didn't make a deal. It's all love. I'm gonna take these great ideas and go somewhere else. But don't be mad that you had to pay me for what I feel my worth is. Terrible people.
Did you know that was going on behind the scenes? Had you heard whispers of things that he was doing to women or people that were trying to get in position? Did you hear anything about that? Did you know anything like this was going on?
I hear things.
Right.
But, you know, he never tweeted my book. Nigga never asked me for a foot massage. I'd have been like, man, you don't get the fuck out of here. But if I had heard, like, if I'd have known somebody, if somebody came to me, I would have pulled up on them. Hey, man, don't do that. I'm gonna tell you how to do your business, but you ain't gonna do that business to my people.
Right.
Don't do that. That's just not how you conduct your business. If you want people to be successful, you don't use your weight to try and get something from somebody. You should want people to be successful for themselves, and the feeling that you get is the fact that you help nurture them and make them successful. This other thing, that's toxic. We left in living color because Fox was syndicating the show and it was hurting Keenan's pockets, and Keenan was like, nah, you ain't gonna do this to me. And my family said, fuck this money. And we all left in living color. There's an episode of Living Color where we got black shades on. It's a Christmas episode. Jamie Foxx is singing, and me and my family got black glasses on. And we sitting there like this as a family.
Right.
Because we protesting and we going, you ain't gonna fuck my brother. We a family. You touch one, you touch all. Your money, I'm sorry. They was offering us big checks, $70,000 checks to stay on that show. I'm still a brother after this. No, I'm gonna support my brother. And we all left the show. And that's why season 5, it got weird. It got Bismarcky, and God bless Chris Rock. He came at the wrong time, but and as brilliant as he is, you couldn't save it because the eyes of the show is gone. You understand?
The heartbeat of it.
Yes, the eyes, the vision. You can't replicate Wayne's shit, and anytime they try, you're gonna fail. They've done other movies, you can't. People taste that shit, that ain't Wayne's. Can't do what we do because you ain't got my life experience. You don't have my point of view. You didn't grow up with the people I grew up with. You don't understand how life has carved me as a visionary. You can't take the flavor. You can't. I could give you all the seasoning.
Right.
I'll give you all what's in it. You don't know how much to put. You don't know what kind of flour. I'll give you the right flour. Right. You don't know how long to cook that chicken. You don't know how much of that garlic powder you got to put in there. I'll give you the hot sauce. It's Frank's. I ain't gonna make you be able to make my chicken. And that's what comedy is. And with my brothers, when we left in Living Color, I had $700 in the bank and $900 rent. I was broke. And me and my brother Sean was looking at each other like, what are we gonna do now? My brother Sean was depressed. He would sit in the room with lights out, and he played Christmas music, because whenever you get upset, because Christmas was a happy time, was it? When we get upset, they play that Christmas music. I would sit there like we did at Living Color, and he had a brand new computer, and I was sitting there working on Wayans Brothers. And then one day he came out the room in his robe, and he said, what you doing, stupid? I said, I'm working on a TV show. And the first thing he read was, interior, outside. He said, stupid, how you have interior, you outside? He said, move over. And then we sat down and we created our show, Wayans Brothers. Nobody gave us nothing. And my brother, when we did Don't Be a Menace, Keenan made us do 26 drafts. 26 drafts. And then the director, when we finally shot the movie, me and Sean would cry. Why are we doing another draft? We're gonna do it again and ain't ready yet. Then the director didn't get comedy, messed the movie up. We screened the movie, it got terrible ratings. Miramax is like, what are we gonna do? Keenan's like, I can fix it. I need $1 million and I need 10 days of shooting. Bet. Keenan said, okay, I got the budget. I know what to do. Now you guys gotta write a movie. What do you mean? I'm gonna write a whole new movie. You fucked this one up. And in 1 week, we had to write a whole damn new movie. So much so that I couldn't even think of anything. I took some hits of weed. Me and my boy got high, like me and my boy Xavier. I passed him the weed, and he took it, he coughed, and he threw up. Damn. and fell on the floor. And I looked at him, I said, hey, nigga, pass that shit. And we put it in Don't Be a Menace. So we wrote all these different sketches, the grandma's breakdancing, all these different sketches that getting jumped in, that became the movie Don't Be a Menace. And hadn't we did the 26 drafts prior to that, we could have never showed up to put together that draft in 7 days and do what became the classic Don't Be a Menace.
Right. You said he
Damn, I got stories. Shit, I need a second. Damn.
That was...
I look at my face in the mirror and I don't know I'm this old.
You mentioned that Keenan made you write it. Rewrite it 26 times. I can imagine the length of time that you and Sean spent coming up with the first script.
Yeah.
And then to rewrite it.
Yeah.
And to rewrite it.
Yeah.
And then say, you know what? Y'all messed it up again, so guess what? I got $1 million from Miramax, and we're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
Did you like, man, come on, Keenan, bro?
The whole time.
Let's just roll with it.
We wanted to fight this nigga. I was like, Sean, you get the legs. I'll kick him in the chest. We was so mad. But you look back and you go, oh, I see why Yoda made us do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're Jedis.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm so proud of you. And to hear that, you know, from my brother Keenan, like, I'm proud of you. You're doing great work. You know, I worked my whole lifetime to be able to hear, I'm proud of you. You're doing great work. My brothers don't
pass out compliments.
No, they don't laugh. I go, how'd you like it? I put it on, and when something funny happens, they go, that's funny. Damon just goes, In
the temple of Vietnam, Cambodia, Angkor Wat, temples throughout India, and all of Asia worship a monkey god. They call it the Monkey King. In India, they call it Hanuman. Now, let me go through this story to show you the esoteric thing of what's going on inside of us. Because Hanuman is called the 8th of Thoth in Egypt. This is the picture of Hanuman. This is very important. It's a monkey or a primate, but it has a crown on its head. The monkey or the primate and the humans are the same. The primate is a symbol for the human. It has a crown on its head, which means it's going to evolve into a god. Hanuman is a god. Now, let me tell you the story, and it's worshipped throughout Asia. The story is Hanuman is a devotee of Brahma. Brahma is the form of Horus. He's a reincarnation of Vishnu. Now, this is the story. He is called an 8th of Thoth in Egypt. Thoth or Tahuti in Egypt is the wisdom of knowledge, writing, knowledge, alchemy, chemistry, music, the sciences. But it's also called the 8th of Thoth. That's the primate. But this 8 has a crown on its head. So this is also Hanuman in India, Thailand, and Vietnam. And he's known in China as the Monkey King. Now, this is the key. Because Tahuti is also alchemy and a symbolic, and Hermes is symbolic of melanin. The origin of the sciences and all these records, which is given to him by a goddess called Seshe. So Tahuti, who is the god of wisdom, gets the whispered in his ear by a goddess. So, by Tahuti being the origin of melanin, and Hanuman being Tahuti, but Hanuman also has a monkey kingdom, melanin inside of your body never stops moving. It's chaos that never stops moving. If you look at the monkeys, especially the chimp monkeys that they have in India and Asia, they never stop moving. So the monkey is symbolic of melanin on the inside of you. Those monkeys get together and they build a bridge. The bridge is the DNA. If you look at the DNA, it now it has these lines, which is the bridge. I'm just showing. This is another symbol of the DNA. Talk about in cycles, but it's still the DNA. Anyone coming from here? Even if you look at the staff of Tahuti, it has two intertwined serpents, which is the DNA. So the monkeys build this bridge, which is the DNA, to get back the fallen daughter of the queen. So the story is talking about the monkeys and Panama is nothing but the stuff that's going on the inside of you, and the DNA and all of that type of stuff. Even Rama has an arrow that he shoots, and anytime you see the arrow represents, the tip of the arrow represents the pineal gland. So this Ramayana story, they reenact it all through Asia. And there's a book you can get on the Ramayana. It's actually talking about the inner workings of your DNA.
This huge Hollywood party is that this is what it means to sell your soul to the devil. So he goes from room to room, and he gets to a room where everyone's waiting in line, and there's a bookshelf behind him with all these holy books, the Bible, the Quran, the Tao, the Torah, you name it. And when you get to the front of the line, he says, which one is yours? And they would choose which holy book was theirs, meaning like what religion were you brought up in, right? And then he makes you place your hand on the book with some kind of metal object over it, and you have to say a statement that says like, I bow to no one, I alone am my own God, I bow to myself. Like a super service to self like slogan. Damn. And then you get permitted entry into the last room, and he was like, I'm not doing this, this is evil, I'm out. So he gets to the front of the line and he's like, hey man, I don't feel comfortable with this, can I cop out? I'm not doing this. And the guy leans in and is like, sure, man, just go to the back of the room and take your mask off and somebody will come get you. So he does that, and then the people that come to get him start shouting and pointing him out, and they say, the price was not paid, let the profane be removed, or something like that. The price was not paid, let the profane be removed. And everyone starts chanting it, and they carry him out of the thing. So he's outside waiting for they told him like somebody's gonna come to pick you up and drive you back home. And so while he's waiting for his like Uber ride or whatever for like 10 minutes. He looks in, he walks around to the side of the house and looks through a window, and he sees the last room that his friend went into, and it's all these cameras set up, and a bunch of people are wearing masks, and they would put each person in the center. And he doesn't say what they were doing, but he said basically the most heinous act you can imagine was happening, and they were filming it. And so I imagine that probably means they were doing unspeakable things to children or a child, right? And they're filming it. So now they have dirt on you, right? And the story goes on, and he talks to his friend the next day. His friend's like pretending like everything's cool, and he tells him like, bro, I saw what happened. Like I saw what they made you do in that room. And his friend kind of freaks out on him and is like, don't tell anybody, like they could blackmail me with that, like you can't tell anyone what you saw.